My name is Josh. I'm 26 years old. I live in New York City and I run a service based business. Specifically, I run an AI and automation consulting business. And this type of business model, service based, is often referred to as a lifestyle business because they kick off lots of free cash flow. So, practically, that means we can take 10, 20, $30,000 off the table every month once we're up and running in order to fund our lifestyle. The agency model is the most popular type of online service based business because it's just the fastest, most reliable way to make money. But they hinge on two things, and that's having a high value skill set that you can offer as a service and being able to get in front of business owners that you can sell to. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to focus on that second point, and I'm going to share my secret sauce that will allow you to consistently book high ticket client calls with any business owner that you want to take on as a client so that you can pitch them live on a call and drive the kind of revenue into your business that will have your Auntie Andy asking if you're a drug dealer the next time that you see her at Thanksgiving. If you've ever operated as a consultant or run an agency before, you'll know this to be true that once you have a high value skill, this ability that we're about to drill into to get on calls is usually the difference between squeaking by, doing $5,000, $10,000 a month servicing middling businesses and otherwise getting aligned with healthy cash flowing companies that can support us being on a nice juicy retainer for 6 to 8 months. This system and framework, though, for driving high value calls onto your calendar is applicable regardless of your offering. So just keep that in mind, even though I'm going to use automation as an example because I like to speak through my firsthand experience. Okay, time to lock in. To really help you understand this system, I want to introduce you to my friend Max. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin with a degree in psychology, and he took a job in Chicago doing HR at a Series C health tech startup that's hopefully going to IPO in the next couple of years. He's coasting along, and life is okay, but there's a sort of nagging itch in the back of his mind that he should be doing more with his life. He's tired of feeling like someone else is in control of his future, and he's also getting tired of feeling constrained financially on the day to day, like when his girlfriend wants to go on a trip or when he needs a new car. So Max decides that instead of spending his nights watching Love is Blind and checking his fantasy football lineup for the 87th time, he's going to start learning no code automation. Within a few weeks, he's really comfortable in Zapier and Airtable. He even built an AI agent on N8N, and he's feeling ready to take on a few clients, knowing that he now has a legitimately value additive, highly sought after skill. So he starts reaching out to businesses, and his playbook is straightforward. He identifies businesses in a specific niche using tools like Lemlist and Apollo, and then he finds the email of a key decision maker, does a quick Google search, fires off a canned email, and then logs that into a spreadsheet. And when they don't follow up initially, he reaches out to them again, this time on socials like LinkedIn and Twitter. His outbound emails look something like this. Hey, John, congrats on closing your latest round of funding. It looks like you guys are really growing fast. I help similar businesses streamline their ops by building bespoke tech. I'm sure you're slammed, but I have some ideas for how you can increase top line without additional headcount. Are you around this week for a 15-minute coffee chat? When he doesn't hear back, his LinkedIn follow-up DMs look like this. Hey, John, not sure if you saw my email last week, but I build bespoke tech for organizations like yours, and I had a bunch of ideas for how we could implement AI and automation into your organization. Are you around for a quick 15-minute coffee chat? I would love to share a case study. After a week of a couple of replies, but no calls materializing on his calendar, Max starts to question himself. The doubt is creeping in, he's out of free LinkedIn credits, and his girlfriend is getting annoyed that he isn't around every night to watch their show together. This is the moment of truth. He knows that his skill set is in demand, and his For You page has become this never ending reel of McKinsey report breakdowns, highlighting the fact that AI and automation implementation is a market that's going to grow to $10 trillion in the next 5 years. And he's literally offering that exact service. But why isn't it clicking? Is it just time to throw in the towel? Okay, so we've painted the picture, but now stay with me because I'm going to show you exactly how we can solve Max's problems. And before that, I just have a couple of quick call outs. The first one is that there are a dozen of different client acquisition channels. What Max is doing is called cold outreach, but there's funnel hacking and warm intros and referrals and cross-selling and freelancing platforms and so many other ways to get calls on your calendar. I want to be clear, his problem isn't his outreach channel. And beyond that, the problem is not that he's not using some special tool. Despite what all of these random SaaS platforms want you to think, there's no silver bullet or magical third-party platform that's just going to solve your sales funnel. The fundamental reason why Max is failing is because he doesn't understand the following framework. When we are propositioning our leads to get on a call, we are engaging in a transaction. Think about an ordinary transaction. Picture last Sunday. You're at the farmer's market. You pick out a jar of cruelty free, non GMO molasses honey. You give the clerk at the stand $38. They give you a 3 ounce jar. And then you both go home and cry yourselves to sleep that night, and the world keeps spinning. Is that relatable or is it just me? Either way, getting on these calls is the same dynamic, only instead of honey and cash, we are trying to buy a business owner's time and we are paying for it with value. So let's break that down. The thing we want is 30 minutes on a Google Meet or a Zoom with a business owner. We know that if we get that, then we'll have the opportunity to close a deal. And in my line of work as an automation consultant, an individual deal is often worth 5 figures. Regardless, that opportunity, that block of time is something that needs to be given to us. And there's no such thing as a free lunch. Every now and then, sure, maybe we'll get lucky with a subpar outreach strategy, but if we really want to control our destiny in this business, we can't leave anything up to chance. We need to give that business owner something in exchange for their time. If we wanted to, we could offer them cash. But remember, we have a high value skill set, so we can pay for their time using value as our currency. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. And we need to do this quickly before Max calls it quits, buys some dude's course, and starts dropshipping vibrators. Trust me, I've been there, and that is a story that does not end well. So, as we've established, there's nothing wrong with the bones of Max's outreach strategy. I've closed plenty of deals just reaching out to clients in the exact same structure. It's his messages that need to be dialed in. As we go about doing this, let me be clear that there are actually some things that I really like about his initial message. He's calling out something specific, that they recently closed a fundraise, which is information that he found on Google. And that signals that he's spent at least some amount of time doing research into their organization. He's also teasing an idea to create value by increasing revenue without staffing additional employees. This is a nice start, but it's just too vague. Beyond that, his call to action, a 15-minute chat, is very open-ended. There's just too much ambiguity for this to be really compelling to an operator that, as Max has identified, is likely super busy. It's not clear exactly what he's going to get out of their call, but we can fix that. We're going to start by further personalizing the message. John, I saw that A16Z just joined your cap table. Congrats, that's a huge win. Notice how we're getting a little bit more specific here in singling out an individual investor in their business rather than just leaving things broad. This signals a certain level of sophistication on our part, and it's going to hook and pull the lead into our message and keep them reading. Now that we've laid the bait, we can move on to the next portion of our message, but I wouldn't hesitate to add another line depending on circumstances. Either way, the next step is now to quickly contextualize who we are by saying something like this. I run a dev shop that builds bespoke tech, and I only work with a couple of clients at a time, but I'm really bullish on 3D printing, and I think your positioning in the market is strong. Boom, that's all it takes. Now our lead has a reasonable enough idea of who we are. And notice two things. First, we decided to frame ourselves as a dev shop, which was a choice that we made since we guessed that sounding more technical would appeal to the business owner. But we could have just as well called ourselves an automation consulting business or an AI implementation firm. This all just comes down to feel. And the second thing is that we ingratiated ourselves further by getting even more specific about their business. Now we just need to set the table for the exchange, and we can do it by adding a line like this. I recently built an internal tool that generates proposals for RFQs along with a product that puts dynamic automated touchpoints on prospects in a sales funnel. We have a unique playbook for fine-tuning AI models. Would love to give you a quick run through. Now with this, what we're doing is trying to pique their interest and ground the exchange. With this language, irrespective of whether or not we end up moving forward and working with them as a client, it's clear that we have something real to offer and we're in a position to teach them something or leave them with some valuable takeaways. We also covered a lot of ground, calling out sales and operations and AI. One, if not all of these, are verticals in their business that they're likely already thinking about addressing. And we're rounding it off by saying that we can give them a run through, which is more concrete than just an open-ended conversation. So now that we've defined what we have to offer, we can make the ask. By the way, everything we build is custom, one-to-one for our clients. So nothing to sell you here, but I had a couple of ideas for operationalizing as you push for more scale. Let's pin down a time to chat this week, schedule permitting. Alternatively, happy to go async and I can shoot you over a quick loom. And there it is. We confidently, but not over aggressively, lay out our call to action, which is to jump on a call. The time for value exchange is framed perfectly. We even teased further value by sharing that we had some additional ideas. Our message is slightly longer than before, but only by a sentence or two, and it's very succinct. We also left the client a backdoor in the event that they're busy and they would prefer that we share a Loom video. If they respond and take us up on that offer instead of a call, that's still a big win, as it means this deal is very much alive. And now we have a chance to demonstrate executional capacity and drive them to a call from there. Armed with this playbook, our hero, Max, sees an immediate uptick in call bookings. And 2 weeks later, he closes his first deal for 4 grand. Suddenly, his girlfriend doesn't care as much that he skipped out on a couple nights of Netflix binging. So I actually changed the names and details in here, but this is actually a real story from someone that I worked with. Periodically, I will take on people and work directly with them, doing everything top to bottom that comes with starting, running, and scaling an AI and automation consulting business. I'm very particular about who I take on just because I invest so much time working with people in a one-to-one individualized way. And on top of that, we have 25 hours of pre-recorded content. We do daily office hours and templates and playbooks and plug and plays. And basically, we just make available this massive bank of resources that I've created for bulletproofing the process of getting started doing this. All that is to say, again, I'm very particular, but if you think you're in a position in your life to really execute and you want direct access to me so that we can engineer an outcome, feel free to reach out. The link is down in the bio, and I'd be happy to walk you through kind of the nuts and bolts of how this kind of mentorship program works. Anyways, I hope you guys found this video really valuable. I could go on literally forever outlining the ins and outs for how I consistently fill up my calendar and drive book calls. Ultimately, like, we just scratched the tip of the iceberg here, but I love making videos like this, and I already have a bunch more in the works. So if you haven't liked or subscribed, feel free to go ahead and do that. If you didn't like this video and you don't want to do that, all good. I'm brand new to YouTube. I've been making videos for like a week or two. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Tons more content coming down the pipeline. I absolutely love sharing my journey, knowing that it's helping you guys get out there and close deals. So with all that said, cheers.